So we've just gotten The Conjuring Last Rites, the fourth film in the Conjuring series, and I have to say, it's about what I expected. The Conjuring 4 is set in the 80s and is the final film chronicling the lives of Ed and Lorraine Warren as they're getting older now. Their daughter is, I actually don't know if they say her age in the film, but she's like getting married age, which, spoiler alert, she does. And it chronicles their very last case, returning to something from very early on in their careers with their daughter by their side to stop this entity that's been plaguing them since the beginning. The entity that's plaguing them gets introduced in this film. It's not something from like an earlier film, which would have been cool, but eh. I want to say that Last Rites, I think, is a fun name for the film. You know, to have that be the last film, I think that's fun. And we'll get to whether or not it is the last film or the last thing to come out of The Conjuring. We'll get to that later. But first of all, I want to talk about the four main Conjuring films. Now, here's my very quick rundown of the Conjuring films. The first one, an excellent film. The second one, I genuinely think is a masterpiece. The third one, when I first watched it, I hate it, but now I think I respect it a bit more because it tried something new and it did something different. And as I watch more films, I start to respect that because they've done two haunted house movies, and the first and the second ones are very similar. On rewatch, I'm like, damn, it's kind of treading the same ground. So I understand why the third one was this way. And the fourth one, I think, is better than the third. I feel like it's kind of like the third and the first kind of combined in a way, but just still done less well than the first and second films. I say that it's them combined because the third one felt very personalized to the Warrens. Like, there's always a bit of that in there, but the third one felt like they were the main focus rather than another family, really, to be honest. And this one kind of felt like that was the same, but it was still like haunted house sort of deal. So yes, if I were to rank them, the second one first one second, then the latest one, Last Rites, then Devil Made Me Do It in last place. Now this one, as the same as the third one, was directed by Michael Chavez and not James Wan, who directed the first two. And you really do feel it. I think with the third one, I especially felt it. It feels like I was really hoping James Wan would come back for the last one. But so it's a little disappointing there, but I kind of get why Michael Chavez did it. I'm kind of glad he did it, so it didn't feel too dissimilar from the whole lot. It kind of had the same vibes that 3 had, so it still felt like pretty connected rather than being completely dissonant as its own film. But yeah, the first two were such quality films, and the second one really feels like they made the perfect sequel. They took what they did in the first one and they upped it. They upped it in drama, maybe got rid of like the true story, like grounded nature, but it was cool. It was really cool. I love the Crooked Man. I want him more. And then these two, it feels like, this one as well, it feels like they were doing something new. They were really focusing on the Warrens' like family dynamic going forward, which is, it's an interesting thing they haven't discussed before because they made it so that Judy is a lot older now, so there's new things to discuss and uncover within the story, which I think was a smart move, and it definitely makes sense. So they didn't just make another haunted house film like the first or the second one that didn't quite feel as good. That would have been a mistake, I think. So yeah, I respect, once again, like the third one, I respect what they did, and I think the family dynamic parts worked really well, and the haunted house thing was a bit of a letdown. But yeah, overall, I feel like this series finished the way I expected it to, where it was, I don't think it necessarily fizzled out, but it definitely, it dampened over time. And now, let's talk about its future. I know what you're thinking, this is the last film, and I will say I believe, and I want to believe this because I want this to be their send-off. I think this will be the last film with Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson in the roles of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Because I've heard news of a prequel film and they introduce younger versions of the two characters in this film. I don't know if they'd use those same actors, but they had a fair amount of screen time, so I think it would make sense to. And there's also talk of a Conjuring TV show coming out at some stage. Because this movie did so well at the box office, which I would not have seen coming in any way. Like, especially given that if James Wan was returning to direct, I'd be like, I understand that. But it's like, it blows my mind that this film did so well. For like maybe it's the last thing in the franchise, I don't know. If The Nun came back, I don't know, like, I will say, this film kind of trod the ground of Annabelle again. And it kind of fits into the story because it's part of Judy's trauma, because she has a lot of trauma with Annabelle. Because, you know, you're a child, it's a creepy doll, and also we've seen those two interact in previous films. especially Annabelle Comes Home, particularly, I feel like. But I feel like they did tread that ground a little bit too much again. It's like, yeah, we get it. Annabelle's like a big character for you guys. Move on. Use the Crooked Man again. That would be cool. It wouldn't have made sense to use him in this film, but I would have liked it. I do feel like they're using Annabelle too much. But I like that they didn't do a thing where it's like, oh, all the past villains are coming back. That would have been a bit dumb. It would have been a bit dumb. Although making the villain just like a possessed mirror was a little bit eh. And I want to talk about the way they defeated the mirror, which was like a projection for spirits, so it was letting other things in. Those spirits are kind of like, whatever, who cares? But the mirror, right? The mirror was something they encountered when they were much younger, and then it came back to get them. It was kind of always tracking them or something, you know? It's like the Rise of Skywalker, where it's like the Emperor was always living in the darkness or whatever. It's like, nah. That one was way more dumb than this, though. This was all right compared to that. They defeated the mirror by essentially just being like, we believe in ourselves and we're better than you, which I know that the other demons have been defeated like that, where it's like, you know, doing an exorcism, but at the end it's like it's up to the person to like fight the demons themselves. But this one really felt like they just looked at the demon and were like, no, we're better than you. See ya. And it's like, that feels a little dumb, doesn't it? Because like the exorcism stuff was not working at all. But it feels a little stupid. I really love the actors that played Judy, their daughter, and Tony, her boyfriend, who becomes fiance in the film. I thought those two were really good. The daughter looks so much like Zooey Deschanel to me. I couldn't get it out of my mind. That's her name, right? Deschanel? I didn't Google it, and I feel like I should have, but I'm hoping that's correct. And someone Hardy played Tony. I want to say Ben Hardy, but I don't know. And yeah, I feel like those two are really cool. Those two did really well in the roles. She really felt like a grown-up daughter. I feel like there was a lot of connection there between especially Vera Farmiga and Judy's actress. So Lily Tomlinson? I should have Googled. Why didn't I Google? I still can, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to hope. Yes, back to what I was talking about. The future of this franchise definitely feels alive and kicking, especially after the success of this film. You always want to bank in, you know, get more cash flowing on franchises. That's the whole thing with cinema now. I could talk about this for hours, but I won't. So it definitely feels like we're going to get more of the Conjuring stuff, which might be cool. We're getting a new It television show, and that looks cool. So I wouldn't mind a Conjuring TV show. I don't know what it would be if we're getting like a prequel film and then another Conjuring TV show. They might do like a Twilight Zone with the Conjuring and be like, hey, look, it's all the little creatures they keep in their room. Each one has a different story. These are their stories, like a Twilight Zone type thing. Did I already say that? Who knows? But that would be interesting, I think. Maybe not good, but it would be interesting to see if they do an anthology thing with it. Since this is Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson's send-off, I hope so, I have to talk about them throughout the entire series. Their chemistry carries these films. Like, seriously. At the times when these films, because I think the second one's perfect, but all the others that has their moments where it wouldn't be as good if it weren't Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson in these characters. Their chemistry is just so believable. And like when they're on screen together, it's just, they just embody these characters so strongly. It's really incredible. Like it just feels so natural. They feel so naturally them. It really should be praised, and I'm sure it has been, but I think we should really like sit back and think about like, damn, these two really like from the start committed to these two characters and just nailed them. So I do think for younger actors, maybe the two in the film, it's going to be harder to bring that same energy and chemistry, but we'll see if they choose to do that. We'll see what they manage to pull out of the bag. But yeah, I've discussed the film a bit. I'm not going to go super deep into plot because I don't want to spoil a whole ton, and you can also just see the film. You can find it somewhere. You should see it in cinemas because it's probably not still in cinemas by the time I get this out. I'm slack with making these videos, okay? Give me a break. I'm clearly in a mood today. I'm going to leave a lot of this in because I think maybe it's funny. I did see, I think Michael Chavez said this somewhere, but he said this is going to be the scariest Conjuring film. It's not. The second one still takes that for me. There are some jump scares in the second one with like the old man, It's like, in my house. It's like, that's terrifying. Holy shit, like I rewatched that film and it gets me every time. The water bit, the section with the water, ugh. I still think the second one's definitely the scariest, but they said this one would be and it wasn't, so many people say that now though. It's like, this will be the scariest movie. Just say it's good. Just say, I think we did a good job. Don't try to claim any big broad thing, because most of the time it's just going to make people be like, you said it was this and it wasn't. I'm not trying to be like that. I'm just saying, don't make broad claims like that. Don't try to say, like, this is the best film ever. You can say this is the best film that you've made. You can say that. That's fine. People will agree with that or disagree with it, but don't try to make a broad genre statement. Like, this is the scariest Conjuring film. It is not. End of statement. It feels... I think it's the... Oh, would I say that? I was going to say it's the most dramatic Conjuring film, but it's the most drama-centered, I feel like. Drama within the Warren family. Like, it's very, like, family drama. Out of all of them, it's definitely this one that really... Like, the whole opening sequence is, like, it's scary, sure, but, like, it's really focused on, like, the Warrens and the birth of their child and, like, that family dynamic. It's very heavily focused on that, which is the part of the film that I think I like the most. Because the haunted house bit with the family feels a little tacked on. They're not really explored thoroughly. It's mostly about the Warrens. And they find that out in the story that actually, oh, it is about us. Like, the entity wants us here for some reason. I need to stop rambling and give this film a score. And this has been troubling me because I'm taking all the other films into account and how I've scored them, not on this channel, but mentally in my noggin. And the way I've scored them is the second film, 5 out of 5. The first film, 4.5 out of 5. And the third film, 3.5 out of 5, which is probably high for most people. But I have respect for it for the reasons I've previously stated. They tried something new. I don't think it really worked, but I respect that they did that. This film, I want to put between the third and the first at 4 stars, but that feels high. So I think if I'm being completely honest with myself, it's either a very reluctant 4 or I'm going to force it to be 3.7. So I think I have to do that because it's better than the third one, I think. But it's not a 4-star movie. You know? So I think it's going to be 3.7 creepy mirrors out of 5. I'm not even happy with that score. I'm going to change my mind about this film probably a lot over the coming years. I'll probably rewatch it again and think it's terrible. I don't know. Maybe I'll love it. We'll see.